Yesterday, this morning's guest talked about education. This morning, he's going to tell you to mind your own business. Part 2 of Larry Biddle's coming up next. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Charlie Brendel building of the Coastal Carolinas Association of Realtors in one of the classrooms of the Fortune Academy, one of its 14 locations statewide. We're focused on part 2 of Overachievement, and we're visiting with Larry Biddle of Conway. Good morning, Larry.
Good morning.
Murrells Inlet.
Yes, that's
and
correct.
Murrells Inlet, you would shoot me or kick me under the table. You're not even wearing socks this morning. You kicked me twice probably.
I know.
If I left Murrells Inlet out, that tremendous location of y'all's right down there, you were kind enough to let us in the neighborhood about 10 years ago.
Well, we're glad you're there, and it is a special place, no question about it.
It really is. You know, my uncle last Tuesday, our new ad director at the Herald just came to us from the state. He'd been a retail manager over at the state in Columbia, and he's staying at the Inlet House until he and his wife can sell their home in Sumter and move down to the beach. And hearing my uncle talk about buying that tract in '94. And then having a guy named Joe Mettello build the house there.
Yes, very
He's
special.
A tremendous builder. He and his two sons.
Yeah.
Heard Danny Isaac talk about Joe Mettello building homes, a rare breed.
Joe built my Casey and Kim's house.
Is that
out
right?
in Conway, yeah. And he builds one house at a time. That's how
right.
he does it.
He did Jimbo and now our house in 10 months. I mean, it's been a heck of a long time out there.
Right.
A heck of a long time. You know, so much has to happen. I got to admit, wearing this great tie in honor of you as an educator, but also this pen you gave me yesterday, which highlighted the tremendous ceremonies y'all had last Friday, a week ago today, out at Coastal, the inauguration of David A. DeCenzo, Dad, as y'all call him.
Yeah,
that was a big day.
The kids came up with that. I mean, I've seen it on his cuff, embroidered, but that's what the kids have started doing, the students out there.
I love it.
It is great. Yeah,
I love it. That's a real celebration.
Special relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, you've shared with us the great quote of that kind when you presented me this yesterday. There's also some great quotes, and you brought some books with you, and there's so many things we could talk about in the next 20 minutes, Larry, but we wanted to get a little bit into Quinces 5, a new group. Obviously, we talked a lot yesterday about Jostens, a Renaissance program, and I believe for viewers who wanted to look that up, jostens.com/Renaissance.
Right, or now it's really jostens.com/EdServe.
EdServe.
EdServe is Educator Services. So there's a whole division now of the company.
Oh, great.
Which is really exciting. Yeah, so that's good.
Early this morning, I went to another website, another group you're now involved with, Quinces 5.
Quinces 5, yeah. It stands for Quintessential System 5. The concepts are all based on 5 components that we teach. And it's a lot of things we've learned. It's a lot of this research that I brought that really helps companies or any institution, frankly, whether it's government or businesses or whatever, get a better handle on how they get more results with more people.
Do companies need help, Larry?
Absolutely.
Do they really?
Yeah. All the research shows that about 79% of the people leave their jobs due to lack of appreciation.
Come on.
That's the research.
79% of people that leave their jobs leave because of a lack of appreciation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's enormous. And
that is right on the front of y'all's website. There are 3 big, as I went there this morning, that's QUINTSYS5.com. Exactly. For folks who go there and check it out. 3 tremendous ones. There's one at the bottom. I couldn't even figure out what all those zeros were. 5 trillion, maybe.
It's the cost of disengaged employees that are not engaged, are not passionate about what they do, I brought a piece here that's really powerful, I think, and it's a great article. It's what leaders really do. It's a Harvard review, and it says. The whole purpose of systems and structures is to help normal people who behave in normal ways to complete routine jobs successfully. Day after day, it's not exciting or glamorous, but that's management. Okay, so your managing is kind of things driven. Leadership is different. Achieving grand visions always requires a burst of energy. Motivation and inspiration energize people, not by pushing them in the right direction as a control mechanism, but by satisfying basic human needs for achievement.
Mm-hmm.
A sense of belonging, recognition, self-esteem, and a feeling of control over one's life, and the ability to live up to one's ideals. Such feelings touch us deeply and elicit powerful responses.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you look at this, the good thing about in the education world, and I guess people call me a weirdo because I'm an educator and a businessman,
Mm-hmm.
but both. What happened in all this is things we've learned that I learned in it. I took a business approach to education, and now we're taking an education approach to business, because I asked the American Resort Development Association at their international meeting in Florida not too long ago, is teaching and learning a critical part of your business? And they all sat there like, oh my gosh, yeah, we never thought about it.
Right.
I said, well, you know, if you want to learn about teaching and learning, you might want to talk to a few educators, because that's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And our philosophy is to, grow people. One of the things we said is, if you don't mind, we had this thing called mind your own business.
Mm-hmm. Mind your own business.
Which
right.
comes up on the first part of the
right on
slide.
The front. Right.
And then bingo, behind it comes, if you don't mind, we'd like to improve your organization's results. Your own future depends on recognizing the most valuable resource in business, your people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we said, and I've said for a long time, if you don't grow your people, you're not going to grow your business. You won't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So how do you grow your people? And then along comes Toyota Talent. Just came out. It's a 2007.
Right.
What a success story Toyota is.
Mm-hmm.
Go back 40 years and think about what the Japanese made. Junk.
Mm.
But no one's laughing at a Lexus today.
No.
And, if you look at there's two books. One is called The Toyota Way. That one came out in 2003. Toyota built their entire enterprise around 14 principles.
Mm.
Period.
Laid them out early.
And they got them from us. It came out of the World War. It came out of the 40s. And they never left those principles.
Mm.
And their philosophy is that we're not looking to be the idea of the month club, which I think people get caught up in far too often, whether it's education or business. They're caught up in the idea of the month club.
Mm-hmm.
And Toyota says, we not only build cars, we build people.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that.
Man, is
probably
that
out of
powerful?
your lips, yeah. We not only build cars,
we build people.
Can you see that when you go to a plant? Can you feel it? Do you see it?
Yeah, you can.
You really can?
You can see it in schools. You can see it in churches. You can see it where it's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because you just can't take the Toyota philosophy and their systems if you're not building the people. Their philosophy is grow the people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And motivate the people and find people who are passionate and appreciate the people. Mm-hmm. This book, the character principle, nothing better than purpose-driven recognition. See, we have a tendency, I think, in recognition to say, good job, good job, good job, nice job, way to go. That's generic. Let me give you purpose-driven recognition. Greg, as an educator and a businessman, I really appreciate the depth of the things you do in this program, the research you go to, doing your homework, doing it right. Your sincerity is strong. And this is a great program because it shows what the Carolinas are doing. That's purpose-driven. Rather than say, great job, Greg. So how do we take that? How do we live that? How do we become that? And a lot of this Quinces piece came out of my one-year stint with Learning is Leadership, and going through all that, which is intense corporate think tank. Very expensive. Started in France with a lady named Claire Noor, passed away. She passed away in '99. She was a Holocaust survivor. And her daughter and son and her husband carry on their work, but it ended up on the West Coast. We've done a lot of that at Burroughs and Chapin. Very powerful, very intense. It's the first one's called Personal Mastery. It's 9 days, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, 9 days. And then, and it's a one-year program. You get an executive coach every 2 weeks. So I mean, they really peel the onion, your own. I mean, that's the way it works. And learn a lot. I got a lot of insights there. Do a lot of reading, looking all the time at these things. I was with a guy who wrote a PhD. He wrote his doctorate on Renaissance. John McEwen he
wrote his doctorate about the Renaissance program?
Yeah, and there have been 4 or 5 written. And several master's degrees, yeah. And it's very good. And John, he and I presented at the national level a lot together. And he would say to all the educators, do not just read educational research. Because we don't have any money in education to do a lot of research. You want to read real research, you read the business research. Because they got the money. I mean, this carrot principle, based on a 10-year study of 200,000. First break all the rules, which is a great trilogy. Now discover your strengths and and follow the path. I think the third one was. But that's 40 years of research with Gallup, and 12 questions that have been asked all over the place. And everything that we saw, how full is your bucket? These pieces began to come together, and so 6 or 8 of us, said, you know what, we're getting all these questions all the time, and these folks are in Ohio and California and here in North Carolina and other places. And we just said, we're going to put something together to take to corporate America, to businesses, small businesses, government, whoever, because in the final analysis, it's all about growing your people. I presented Quinces to the South Carolina Main Street directors down at Palm Key 2 months ago now, I guess. And talking to the state executive director, and I said, Beppy, I said, in the final analysis, no matter what it is, it's all about your people. So how do we grow our people? How do we recognize our people? How do we celebrate our people? Most celebrations in the business world, in education too, are how soon can we get this over with?
Right.
That's not the way to do it. Yeah. We talk about sell events. How do you really recognize? And is the recognition like, yesterday when I gave you that Coastal Carolina pin, it's on a card.
Right.
We just didn't throw it in a sack and say, well, here's the pin. Do you like one of those?
Right.
So it's that little piece that really makes it something.
Can you really, the old idea, it's not an adage that hadn't been around for a long time for nothing, can't teach an old dog new tricks. Can you, Larry? I mean, can you really
I think you can.
Impact old dogs?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, you can.
Yeah. It's not just fleeting. They're not picking something up. Hey, I love Larry. He's a superstar. I've been to this conference. You can really impact a 55-year-old executive or a 60-year-old or 45 and have something that'll sink in with them.
Yeah, purpose-based, something that, let's take a 55-year-old.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And let's bring him up in front of the company and talk about, in specific terms, the impact he's had on this company.
Right.
Year after year. The ideas that he came up with and so forth.